This episode is sponsored by NQ. Ça, c'est un show de dingue et ce show, ça s'appelle Time Out.
Please make sure to like and subscribe. Time Out. Hello and welcome to Time Out, the show that aims to discuss anything and everything in the world, including bringing you the hottest and exclusive guests. And today I'm joined by a very dope producer from Manchester, and he goes by the name Femi. Welcome to the show, bro.
Blessings, man. It's nice to have me on the show, man.
Oh, of course, bro. I mean, it's been a little minute.
Oh, yeah, defo, man. Especially with everything that's been going on, you know, lockdown.
I noticed with you, I feel like, you know, the last 3 years, or 2 to 3 years now, I'm sorry.
Yeah, 2.5.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It feels like it's just like...
It's a blip, to be honest, yeah.
And it's like, what did you do? I was in quarantine.
Quarantine season,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
So I'm
Everybody
saying.
was like, oh, yeah, it's locked down now. Nobody's actually even contacting anybody and things like that. It was so different, so difficult.
To be honest with you, I know a lot of people suffer from depression and
definitely.
mental health problems was on the rise. Domestic violence in the house.
Tell me about it.
We don't condone that.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
However, at the same time, before we get into talking about you, I just want to bring your attention to this. This episode is sponsored by ENQ. They're located in Manchester, in Northern Quarter. The best shisha and also the best fresh desserts you're going to test. If you got a sweet tooth, make sure you check them out. And also on that note, I know this is a very sensitive topic at the moment.
Yeah.
Ukraine and Russia.
Yeah, our heart goes out to Ukraine. It's just...
Literally, our prayers
you know,
literally goes out to the families which are being affected by what's happening right now in the world.
definitely.
So how you been, bro?
I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. Every day, as long as I'm alive, you know, I'm trying to do what I need to do.
Positive. You're starting off on a positive note. Let's see how this, by the end of this this sit down, it will be so positive, because I do like a go positive person, and I love your smile as well. He's always smiling. He's like me, we're always cracking on smiling. However, when I pop myself, it's been a minute. I've been doing this health lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I haven't been able to sip since we plugged in. So I thought, no, yeah, let me plug in.
You plug in and sip.
Yeah. So how you been? What you been up to?
Well, just basically been producing music, to be honest. Releasing music this year. I said to myself during the lockdown session that, you know what, I'm just gonna try and figure out a way to actually produce most of my music.
Okay.
I have been producing like previously, but producing for other people. I'm gonna start releasing as much music as
Because I mean, I just listen to Fuckers. He's got raps in there. Literally, it's a very catchy song, and I check it out on Spotify as well.
Yeah.
So, tell us more of your childhood.
Well, for me, growing up, I grew up in, was born and raised in London, England.
What part of London?
Hackney.
Hackney.
So,
Okay. You was about to go West London. I was gonna say, ooh. Nothing against West London people. I'm just saying.
So like, I grew up like near London Fields. To be honest, like that was like my compass
Okay.
for everywhere I actually lived while I was in London.
Okay.
So pretty much went to school just in front of London Fields, Gayest.
Okay.
So was there for a bit, but then kept moving. I moved about, so like spent a few years in Nigeria for a bit, moved back.
Okay.
So
I
back
mean,
and forth.
it's so basically going back home to get some of that culture back into you.
Yeah, so it's like, whereas like, it wasn't more of the bad behaviour like everybody back then was going home for. It was more.
My mom was like, Femi, I am getting tired.
Like,
Sit down now. I am getting tired. Your bag of packs, your ticket is booked. You're flying
like,
tomorrow.
This was me like in primary school.
Okay.
I was like, probably 4 or 5 at the time, and I wasn't really much of a troublemaker anyway. I was like just calm, collected, even till now, like not causing any trouble.
Okay.
But I felt to myself, even at that young age, I was like, I want to learn my culture, kind of thing, where I'm from,
Okay.
who I am, kind of thing. So
Because you know, most parents, they get sucked up into this Western life, where they don't get to then inject that bit of culture into their kids,
So,
which is a bit sad, because it's
where you come from, basically.
It's our identity.
Yeah. So don't get me wrong. Like I'm grateful for being born in the UK and having this kind of lifestyle. But at the same time, it taught me lessons that I've learned, because there's no lessons. There's no good or bad lessons.
Yeah.
You learn from it. And you basically adapt.
True.
To the situation at hand. And I've learned that now. And it's where it's like, whatever comes my way, it isn't an obstacle, it's a lesson.
Of course. I mean, like I said, he's gonna be driving positive jams, and I love that. And I love that.
Yeah.
You know what they say? With every action, there's a reaction. So what got you into music then?
I'd say it's growing up with it really. My mum, for one.
Yeah.
Even my auntie, basically. I think my auntie's first. I never really actually talk about this, but it was my auntie first. My mum's younger sister, who she used to listen to like MC Hammer back in the day when she used to live with us before going back, and so she would put stuff on and I'd be like listening. But my mum always put on gospel music, so it was within the two genres,
hip hop and gospel.
Hip hop and gospel, but then the hip hop, and then you also had Michael Jackson at the time as well, WWF at the time. So we used to watch. My mum used to love WWF as well. So
of course, I used to love that.
There were so many things, so many entertainment, so many things that were just basically going on. But yeah, like my auntie kind of got me into like listening to like. Got me into like the hip hop side of things, whereas I started listening to MC Hammer.
Okay.
And then like the pop was. There's no way you went to without hearing Michael Jackson. So even when you was younger, even till today, now, like he's like an icon. He's like the icon.
The icon.
He's the benchmark.
Yeah.
Of a musician, basically, as to how to basically entertain, how to basically market yourself. In that sense, he's basically that benchmark. I don't think anybody can do it as he did, but at least if you basically benchmark yourself to say that you want to get to as high as he got there, you strive to basically do so consistently, and you basically find out things that you can basically do for yourself.
Touching on that subject itself, when it comes to you performing, or as far as you songwriting, how do you write lyrics then?
So for me, I just basically it depends on what the beat is saying to me.
Okay.
So for me, I always like to write from experience or what I'm going through.
Okay.
And then sometimes if it's a different beat and it's where it's like, okay, I just want to be playful with it, or I just want to say something that people might not will relate to, but at the same time it's not happened to me, but it's just it's what's happening now, it's what's happening around me with people. So I basically do it from their perspective. Yeah, so tell a story from their perspective.
Okay.
And try and see if it would go with the beat or something like that.
So what would you say is your style of music then?
My style of music is me, to be honest. I listen to a lot of music basically to draw inspiration.
Yeah.
You can't. I'd say this. There is no musician, there is nobody under this earth that hasn't drawn inspiration from somebody else.
True.
To create what they're creating as from music to art.
Yeah.
Anything to do with entertainment, basically, you're always drawing from somebody else's life or somebody else's experience.
True.
And that's the way creating music is. When you're alone, you basically create music that you resonate with, and sometimes you create the music that you've basically either heard the story or you're basically basing it off your own experiences. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, and they criticize artists for basically having a ghostwriter or not being able to write their own lyrics or not being able to be authentic. But it's art. Art is basically meant for you to either draw from somebody else.
Yeah.
So are you going to say, for instance, are you going to criticize somebody who's basically done a movie that isn't about their life?
To be honest with you, that's a good point, because at one point, I mean, Drake being the biggest artist in the world, and then you find out half his catalog is ghostwritten by someone else, and then you understand, well, it's art, and someone had the artistic. It's just that he delivered it to the world. He
had the presence to basically deliver it. Every artist that we know today, from Britney Spears, most of these popular artists that we knew back then, only probably a few of them wrote their lyrics, but it was whereas like the songs that they wrote, you wouldn't know that they wrote it themselves. Yeah. But it is whereas because they had the star power to be able to present that person's music. Yeah. Off the back of that person is still making money. It's just whereas the person who was able to sing the song and get it to where it needed to get to was popular.
Yeah, true.
So that's the reason why the song got to where it got to.
because you're a rapper and you're a producer, right? And with those things, here it's acceptable. However, if you were to go across the pond and you look at the likes of NBA Youngboy and you look at Lil Durk, how the rap is literally
How they live.
how they live. And then you're trying to think, how do you separate the two then? Because yes, you're a gangster. So does that mean you have to deliver a gangster package as well that comes with it? Of which, that's what the label is pushing. They'll literally go find that diamond in the rough from the hood, polish it, and then say, we want you to be like literally
Live your life the way you live it, basically. Or if they haven't found the person from the hood, they think all right, his song is about the hood, so let's make him the hood rapper.
The hood rapper. A lot of artists, they don't get to research exactly on the music business side. They focus more on the glitz and the glamour.
Yeah,
you record the music today, the first thing you're thinking, where are we gonna play it? How are we gonna pop bottles? And then at the same time now, there's so much on the table, on the pie, that you're actually meant to collect throughout the whole process, and you're ignoring that part. So when you go into a studio to make music, what makes a good song then?
It's the vibe, to be honest. For me, a lot of people say the music you're making is, I don't like it, I don't think it doesn't sound right, it doesn't. For me, I've learned that it's the vibe that you create. It's not about the lyrics anymore. It's about how people basically hear you behind the music. Like sometimes you might not hear the words.
Yeah.
You hear the beat first. So how is that beat relating to the lyrics? Then you hear the lyrics.
Okay.
And then you hear the feeling behind the lyrics. Is this guy telling the truth, or is this? You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
To be honest, I feel that a lot of this generation don't have that as the older generation, of whereas we had to go buy CDs, pop it in the radio, pop it in our CD case.
I was in the tape era. I remember the tape.
Oh, I remember the tape era. I think I remember.
And then the mini disc, and then the MP3. Then
all of
those.
Before, I remember those as well. Like I think it wasn't me. I think I got that. I got a tape actually. Somebody had the original, and I was like, put it on the tape for me. I've taken it home and I put it in the thing, and I think I rinsed it out so much. I actually learnt the lyrics from the whole thing, and it was like, okay, like
they can't relate because literally you would get a tape. Yeah, this is the hardest thing on the streets right now. You go home, you put it on, and then you literally had a book. Yeah, and you write the lyrics. You're like, whoa.
You remember it.
The next day, you're spitting word by word.
So it's that art form of whereas you sit with a record for just the whole month if you had to.
Yeah.
Just to learn it I think it's gone. It's not even dissipated. It's gone.
Yeah.
Now it's whereas it's you basically having to produce music on a regular basis every single time just to get the attention of your fans. Keep going. But I feel that it's lost. Even with the marketing and everything, you have to basically spend money to make money these days.
Of course.
Even though you had to do that in the first place, but now it's whereas like because it's too saturated.
Yeah.
For people to actually be able to hear your music, you either have to pay or play the game.
Yeah.
To be able to do that. And if I basically have to do the promo later on, at least I know it's there for people to go to and see it, that it's there, rather than me say, oh, it's coming soon.
It's coming soon. Because
sometimes coming soon may be like 2-3 years, it's not out yet.
And the procrastination around that idea of coming soon, it kills a lot. And life happens.
Yeah, so things change. Things can change at any time. Like, they've been recorded like during the lockdown session, even before, like during the lockdown session, the first one, when everybody was kind of like almost free kind of thing.
Free.
So, almost free. Almost free.
I don't remember that part. All I know, the only person who was free is Bojo.
So
because he was having them parties, we wasn't invited.
Oh, you know what I mean. The funny thing is, the track, one of the tracks that is coming out that I recorded yesterday for the guys. I don't know if you've heard of Alcohol Republic. So they've actually got one line that actually says they had a party without us and we wasn't invited. That was one of the lines basically. I'm just paraphrasing here, but it's in the song. So hopefully when it comes out, you hear it and you're like, oh yeah, you got told about it. But
why not?
So yeah, but yeah, like for me, it's whereas like I'm just trying to make sure that I release music on a constant basis.
Yeah.
Even if it is, whereas as I said, if I don't put any promo out now, promo's definitely gonna come through, because I feel that once you have the content out there, it then is whereas the advertising, and I've looked into advertising as well, packaging and things like that. So now it's whereas like I've got my colours that I want. So because colours are very like study of colour basically.
Yeah.
So I looked into that as well. So like how McDonald's picked their colour, why they picked it, why Apple picked their colour.
It's all black.
You know what I mean?
Black lives matter.
So you know what I mean?
So I mean, as far as other producers, who do you get your inspirations from?
There's so many. But
give me your top 5. Like
my top 5.
Yeah.
I would say Timbaland, Pharrell. And I would say DJ Khaled, but yeah, so
that's
DJ,
3. We need 2 more.
So 2 more. Kanye West.
Okay, 4.
For certain. And the 5th person. It is very difficult to kind of pick the 5th person, because I'm thinking to myself now, who is that person?
We need top 5
that I listen to a lot. I've already mentioned Pharrell, haven't I?
Yeah.
Oh, why am I Dr. Dre?
Dr. Dre. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know how you picked DJ Khaled before Dr. Dre.
But then the thing is, like, for me, is like, if you look at it, don't get me wrong. Okay, the Super Bowl was good.
Good. Did you say good? That was monumental.
It was dope. It was mind blowing.
Yeah.
To be honest, the production, the choreography, the syncopation, the movements.
Yeah.
And then to have all these big names actually come out and actually share the stage.
It was big for the culture.
Yeah. So share the stage for one is a big, and then to see other artists at the top of their game also support is a different. I think for me, basically, that should show you, especially people who are up and coming, that should show you a level of respecting the craft, respecting the people who are either there before you or are coming up. Doesn't matter where you are in each level.
True.
Respect who that person is as an individual. Don't try and change them. Try and work around them. Embrace them, because you don't know
how it's gonna
go. Basically, you understand what I mean? So I feel that in itself was a big lesson for me to see that and see that.
I'll tell you the funny part out of the whole Super Bowl, when 50 Cent was hanging upside down.
Yeah, it was a recreation, and he was trying to catch his breath. Felt like, wow.
They didn't have to. Don't get me wrong. To us fans, we just be looking like, okay, 50. We know a good 20 years ago you were killing it. Now, that age now, you didn't have to do that. Yeah.
But at the same time, it was nostalgic. It was a nostalgic moment to actually, because I actually laughed when I saw it. I was like, people's minds.
Okay.
Because again, the reason why McDonald's don't stop advertising is because they know if they stop advertising, people may forget them, so they continue advertising. The arch.
On the side note, I don't support McDonald's.
I'm just using it as an example, basically.
Don't get me wrong, if they give me a bag, we might talk a different story.
Yeah, but
no fast food. Cook from fresh, salad. Yeah, how about that? I mean, to be honest with you, I mean the biggest game changer in the last, let's say, last month, going into now, I have to give it to Kanye West. Because he launched his music on his platform, and also he introduced a new device. I know it sounds a bit weird, however, at the same time, to be able to create a device that supports music and your vision as an artist, to me, that's innovative, because people are so used to the idea of, oh, if I'm paying £20 on iTunes or Spotify or any other platform, right? Why do I have to pay $200 to listen to this music on this device or whatever? However, at the same time, it's the experience that comes with that. It's like it's like us when we had the iPods. Mm-hmm. It's a similar situation where, why did we get iPod? Why? Mm-hmm. Because it was an experience, of which that's the same thing Kanye West is literally bringing.
An experience.
An experience. And people are kind of like missing the whole point.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
It's like an installation. Like, people who visit museums, who visit art galleries, they always have an installation. They have like a showing of like what they had, the pieces they had before, and then they have a new piece. And when they're unveiling the new piece, it's the same concept that Kanye West has just used. He's just used it in a digital format. Yeah. So you can't, like, innovation is whereas it comes from a sense of your mind working overtime. Yeah. And you look at things. Sometimes I sit down and I'm thinking to myself, I want to do something like Spotify, but I don't want to do it like Spotify, or I don't want to do it like the distribution companies that are doing it now. Yeah. I want to do it in the sense of, whereas if I do it, this and this is what I'm going to offer them. This and this is what I'm going to offer them. Then, and you know what I mean? Like, so you have things, whereas every idea that starts, you build on that. Yeah. Like, I'm reading a marketing book at the moment now. I think it's 22 laws of marketing. Yeah. And they've basically said that because Spotify are the first and everybody else that comes after is just an afterthought. Even when I started, my drums were the worst ever. My drums.
I mean, to be honest with you,
my drums and bass were just drained by melody, because I love melody. So when I'm mixing, I always mix in the sense of I want my melody to be on top. But then I started to listen to more music, and then listen to different genres.
Because I mean, you have to compensate nowadays. It's either you push the melody on top, or it's gonna be the drums that's gonna take over the genre.
So I had to kind of like, now I've learned to balance everything out. So a lot of people love the drums because it's groovy, the bass and everything, and then the melodies just.
Because I mean, to us, because we're from Africa, and we love drums and we love percussion. Yeah. So it makes sense for us to always have that vibe. Yeah, the drum push first, and then everything takes step back a little bit. Yeah,
it takes its space, and moving forward as well. Like, I learned how to like pan stuff as well. Yeah. So when I first started making beats, I didn't even pan anything. It was just making the beat, and everything was in one. And then you hear everything, and you're like, it don't sound like that one that I'm listening to right now. So it was. But then the thing is, for me, as I said, it's a learning curve. I used to go to a French studio, Ambition Studios in town, as well, and he used to have artists around. Even I met him before he had a studio, and it was whereas like I used to like just used to write a lot for him and just have fun, just doing like whereas you would invite artists to sing some songs, basically some covers and things, like try and basically do that, and then start writing as well. And then I started to write, rap and things like that. And it was there that I actually started to learn how to make beats. And this was probably 2010, 2011. Okay. Whereas I started to kind of like make beats. That was when I started. Yeah. But I wouldn't say that. Yeah, I'd say 2017 was where it's like I took it so seriously and kind of like dove into it. So everything I learned.
So how was it for yourself the first time you released your first single?
When I released my first single.
Yeah. How did that feel?
It felt great, but after a while it was like, all right, who am I marketing this to right now? I'm like, it's just out there. So, but
that's things like you said, it's a learning curve.
Yeah, the first thing, it was an actual, it was a gospel album that I did with 2 other people. Femi and Femi, they're twins, from church. So I did that. It was, whereas like, I was like, because I was like to myself, you know what, let's see what it would do. I actually sold a few tracks in church.
Wow.
So
Hustler.
I think I sold about 10, because I did like 50 copies of it on CD and everything. Did the face.
So did you give the 10% of tithe there?
I don't even think I saw the money, to be honest, because it was somebody who was selling books and everything.
Okay.
So it was like, you know. But at the same time, I was joyful that at least I bit the bullet. To be honest, like
you need to pass me your CD. I need to listen to it.
Yeah, I'll put it's actually on Spotify as well. Actually.
Is it?
Yeah, it's on YouTube and everything. It
I'll
was
give
basically
it
I put it on every platform.
It was interesting when artists, you know, it's like you come from a Christian background and you go to church, you're in a bit of a choir because you like music, and then gradually you come from a gospel, and then it just goes either R&B or hip hop. It's always the case.
I don't know. I think it's probably the blueprint.
This the way, guys. It's tight here, yeah. All holy magic money, and then at the end it's just like, whoa, what we doing?
You've got somebody like Wizkid.
Yeah,
this is the same story.
I mean, and he's one of the biggest
Afrobeats artists in the world today.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
How do you stay motivated then in that case where, you know, you've literally just put your life on the line as far as being artistically, and then you really wanna? How do you stay motivated on top of that?
For so many months or even a year or so, I didn't touch music at all. Like I was making beats and things like that, but it wasn't as if I was like, as I said, it was more therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
So I just hid myself in that moment. I think it was a friend of mine, DJ Kobe, who I think this was actually 2017.
Yeah.
For some mad reason, 2016 came through. It was about to end, and I was like to myself, you know what? There is nothing, no matter what happens, there is nothing that's going to stop me from making music the way I want to make music, the way I love making music for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I don't care if somebody says to me, oh, you're not doing gospel, it's bad. I do not care. Even my mum, if it comes to my mum saying, yeah, I want you to do gospel, I'm just going to be like, I won't say nothing, but I know exactly what I want to do. And I'm going to do it that way for me. Because it's my life at the end of the day. So everybody thinks that everybody's always chiming in.
Of course, everyone has an opinion nowadays.
You can't do it. I remember I went to go see a family friend in London when I moved back to London for a bit. And he was like, and I told him, I said, I want to make music, and it was like, nah, don't need to do that.
Oh,
like,
Lord.
But I was like, and at the time I had not even started.
Yeah.
And it was like,
and the only thing you just want that support. You just want that support to say, like, just go for it.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes you need that validation, and as a human being, I think even today, no matter who you are, you're still basically. Some people are still looking for that validation.
Yeah.
But once you have the mindset that you are in control of who you are, your decision that you make, whether wrong or right, it's your decision, it's nobody else's.
True.
And if you're able to basically guide your mind to make that decision, regardless of it being wrong or right, 9 times out of 10, you get that breakthrough. There is nothing that's going to come my way that is going to veer me on a different path to basically say, you're not doing this, don't do this.
I love the resilience.
You know,
I love it.
And since 2017, I can tell you that I've grown from strength to strength.
That's good.
Consistently.
So since you're from Manchester now, is there any artist you're working with as far as releasing any new music or anyone you're producing for?
Producing for Alcohol Republic at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Different producers have different schedules where you work on a project, they go away with the project, they listen to it and they come back, and then you either practice and then you actually get to record and then have to play back again. Because I mean, as far that whole process, it's a lot of energy. Yeah,
it's a lot of energy.
And you can imagine if an artist is not really polished, having to sit down in a recording. I am telling you guys.
Yeah,
it's like someone. It's like someone is poking you with a needle. Yeah, just literally just non-stop.
You're like, okay, redo.
So my advice to artists, me, I would say
No, practice.
a lot of practice.
A lot of practice. Like the guys that I'm working with now, Alcohol Republic, Fresh Flows, Nafi, they have that conviction that this is what they want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they basically make sure that they're hitting it on the nail.
Yeah.
Wow.
So how do you keep it professional and personal? Because I mean, reason why I'm asking this question is, you know, from an artist, you really want to see something from scratch, building it up, and then you have the final product, and then you have the personal side. If someone is shit, and there are some people who are just shit, I'm sorry. It happens. The game is the game. It is what it is. So how do you keep the two separate? Because I mean, you have to keep it authentic as well.
Yeah, but for me, basically, luckily the people that I've worked with have been a great inspiration to me.
Yeah.
As well as I believe vice versa. And for me, if it was where somebody came through, I'm very conservative in the way I speak, in the way I talk to somebody, and it's very difficult for me to kind of relay, not to hurt that person's feelings, but I will always say to them, you know what, okay, this is what you need to work on. This is how you can work on it. This is probably somebody that you might need to go to.
Yeah.
So I come from a place of where it's constructive criticism is where I come from.
Yeah.
I'm not like, oh no, you shouldn't thingy. I wouldn't put you down because I wouldn't want somebody to do the same to me. Whereas it's different for everybody else. Doing it for yourself, and you're doing it as a way of basically making ends meet for yourself, there is no way that somebody would tell you something and you would drop it, because it's for you.
That's for you.
So, and that is where that is what I've learned for myself now, is whereas I know now there ain't nobody on this earth that can tell me stop what you're doing.
And that's a good belief in your own system.
Because one thing I've also learned is once your mindset is right and that you have the faith and you're doing the work, there ain't nobody on this earth that would say that it's not going to be possible for you to get through what you want to get through.
You know, just to add a little point, it's like, especially at the moment, there's so much, especially with mental health, and the most people that are actually affected and they actually don't get to say anything is usually males, which is really sad because we are considered the most strongest species on earth, but then at the same time nobody actually asks us how do we feel.
Yeah, how we feel and how we doing.
Yeah,
kind of thing. It's very weird in the sense,
you know,
because you're always taught to be the protector.
Yeah.
And it's whereas like if you feel that you're weak, then the wolves are gonna just come out straight away, and it's like, yeah, we got him now, like, and you feel that you're becoming a sissy in a sense.
Yeah.
If I use that word.
9 times out of 10, it's freestyle.
Yeah.
Cause I know you, and some people be thinking,
what's going on? Why is it gone to from music to everything
but
else?
But at the same time, everything, it adds up, because it's what paints you as a person.
Yeah.
You being an artist and being expressive, you have a journey that you have to literally tell people, and this is like
that journey.
This is the part of the journey where in the next 5 years, when we have a sit down again, and hopefully you'll be winning marbles and Brita boards, and I'll be like, bro, can you come back?
Amen to that.
Yeah, come back on my podcast. Yeah, you better not leave me unseen. The local support. It's a bit weird that people are so closed off as far as supporting each other. At the same time, you're all trying to make it out. You know, I always say, the saying has always been around for so many years, for so many centuries. It takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, people think it takes one person to make sure that art is safe to the world, only because you're the only one
doing it, basically.
Of which it's a bit selfish to an extent.
Yeah, there's even other sayings. Even my mum actually was when she said to me, "A tree cannot make a forest." And I looked at it and I was like, okay, if I can't do the writing, let me network out.
Get someone who can write.
And get somebody who can write, because I stopped writing.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, I'm just making beats. So lately I've been trying to do stuff a little bit more, whereas it has samples, but then I've got Splice anyway, which is licensed for you to be able to use those samples.
Yeah.
So they're already cleared for you to use on the beats.
Okay.
So I just use those. But then again, it's where I try and make it my own, and then just build around it to make it a star for me. So lately I've been doing that as well. So so sometimes it's where it's like those using samples are very good. I'm not knocking it, but it is whereas when you use it creatively enough to know that this sample is for somebody not to be able to know it. Yeah,
at least flip it.
Don't just pick it and
then just put it and then put your drums on top and you're like, yeah, that's my new sound. And I'm thinking,
so
it's like going to KFC.
Yeah, so be creative.
And then you be like on a date, and then you're like, babes, I cooked your chicken. And she's like, I test KFC. It's like, nah, this is all me. That's how it feels.
Be creative with it, basically. If you have to step it down, step it down. If you have to chop it up so as to make it your own, try stuff like
spice it up.
Yeah, like there's nothing new under the sun anymore. But at least you can create something that you can be proud of and say, yes, I took this from this, but I made it my own. You know what I mean?
If we are looking at your life, at your journey up to this day right now, what would you want to be remembered for?
So for me, what I want to be remembered for would be being able to impact into people's lives.
Yeah.
Championing everybody else, the underdog. That's what I want to be remembered for. But at the same time, when you're live to your fullest potential.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Make sure that what you're doing is with a purpose.
Now, to be honest with you, Brad, I've touched a lot on your life journey and how much of a motivational person you are. And to be honest with you, I'm inspired. So I really appreciate you for coming through.
No problem, man.
Literally.
Thank you very much for having me. To be honest, I said to myself, this year, I'm going to get an interview. I don't care where it comes from, I'm getting an interview.
And you got a timeout. You got a timeout interview.
I got a timeout interview.
Of course, your faith and prayer and hard work will get you there. Guys, like I always say, I feel like I'm always preaching. This is Time Out. To bring you the exclusive and freshest guest on this podcast, it's been Time Out. Peace.
Deuces.
This episode is sponsored by NQ. Ça c'est un show de dingue et ce show ça s'appelle Time Out.
Please make sure to like and subscribe. Time Out.